Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecca. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show that we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms as well as to Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So if you are joining us from either of those platforms, please feel free to leave a question or a comment down below. Hopefully I'll be able to address anything as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can address anything individually for you. But without further ado, let's get started here with a look at our weather headlines. And of course, we did add that alert day for tomorrow that was added earlier today. We do have that isolated risk for a severe thunderstorm. Now, most of which I think are going to be non-severe, but within there, you could have a stronger storm that is capable of producing all hazards. So that does mean damaging wind gusts, hail are most likely. However, you can't even completely rule out that chance for maybe a brief spin-up tornado. But again, that is a very, very isolated risk. However, it is still possible, so that's why we wanted to highlight that potential with that first alert weather day. So it's not a widespread severe weather event, and I'll break down the details here for you. And you can see here by looking at the storm risk map, only the southeastern half of the tri-state here is really highlighted for that severe weather potential. And we're all sitting at that level 1 isolated risk for severe storms. So again, it's not like something we're seeing in the springtime where it's widespread. This is a very isolated kind of risk here. And then for folks northwest of the Evansville area, it looks like you'll still probably get some rain and some thunder, but less so on the stronger or even severe side. So that is kind of some of the details there for tomorrow. And you can take a look at each individual severe weather risk. You can see we're all still sitting at that isolated level 1 risk for hail, wind, and tornadoes as well. Now, the one positive thing is it does look like the storms will be on the quicker side. So it doesn't look like they're going to be hanging around over the same areas and kind of producing a lot of rainfall, so we don't really have much of a flooding risk. However, with any thunderstorm that develops, you always get that chance for at least some localized flooding. So we'll keep an eye out on that, but overall, all severe weather risks are generally low. However, they are possible. So that is why we have that alert in effect for tomorrow night. I don't think it's going to be a night where you have to, stay up, lying awake, looking at the radar or paying attention to anything like that. I think all you have to do is just make sure you have a way to receive a weather notification or a warning if one is issued for your area. And again, not expecting that to be really common, but it is possible. So let me take you through the timing through our Friday night. So here we are starting Friday morning. We'll wake up to plenty of sunshine, not really much of an issue throughout the day on Friday. It's really as we get later on into the afternoon, early evening hours that we could start to see some of those clouds fill in, and that's where we could even see a few of those drops of rain, maybe even a pop-up thunderstorm out ahead of the bulk of the showers and storms that will likely move through during the evening hours. So again, a lot of this does stay on the southeastern half of the tri-state, but even folks northwest of Evansville could still get grazed by a few showers and storms, and it does look like this starts to wrap up through the morning hours of Saturday, and we'll be seeing increasing sunshine throughout the day on Saturday as well, and then high pressure will build in, and that will bring us a beautiful weekend. So and that's kind of the details for tomorrow's first alert weather day. So again, during the daytime, it's going to be just fine. We'll see plenty of sunshine. We'll warm up into the lower 80s. It's really as we get towards the evening with that cold front moving in that we could see some of those scattered showers and storms pop up, a few of which may be on the strong or even severe side. So again, not a widespread severe weather threat, but there is that potential. So that is what we're looking at for our Friday. Now, let's go ahead and focus on what we can expect through the rest of tonight and even beyond this weekend and into next week. So right now we have high pressure that has set up to our north, and that was after a cold front actually moved in late last night. Many of us probably heard those very loud rumbles of thunder before we got up for the morning. But then after that cleared out of here, high pressure kept things dry throughout the day today. Unfortunately, it is going to be a quick moving high pressure system, so that slides off to the east, and then that cold front to the northwest over the northern plains is what's going to swing in for us tomorrow. But right now it is quiet, a beautiful evening. Hopefully many of you guys are maybe tuning into the stream and then also watching some football. It's a great night for it. Actually, let me go ahead and take a look at some comments from you guys. It looks like Cheyenne says good evening. Looks like Princeton, Indiana, Evansville isn't getting much. Well, again, it's not like this was a huge, severe weather threat. It's just that marginal risk where, if you get placed under a warning, we didn't want you to, get caught off guard by that. So be aware of that tomorrow night. But again, not thinking it's going to be one of those nights where you have to stay awake and kind of track out everything. If the cold front were to, Derek is asking, if the cold front were to stall somewhere near central Indiana, Cape would build for southern Indiana. Correct. A lot of the times, areas south of a frontal boundary will have that more warm, moist air mass, meaning it's a little bit more unstable, therefore providing a little bit more of a fuel source for showers and storms. So maybe that's just a nice little weather question for you. And then it looks like Paula is saying good evening as well. So that is all the questions I'm seeing right now for Friday. Again, Friday evening and into the nighttime is where we're looking at most of the showers and thunderstorms moving in. And it does look like if there is going to be that potential for severe weather, it would be mostly during the late afternoon, early evening hours, because once we get into the overnight, we lose a lot of that daytime energy. So even though it looks like a lot of the showers and storms will be moving in overnight, it does look like that severe weather threat mostly stays a little bit earlier on in the evening. So that is also another little detail there. But that is what we are looking at for Friday. So for the rest of tonight, we'll stay dry. Today, this afternoon, we warmed all the way up into the mid-70s, so it was very comfortable out there. Hopefully you're able to at least enjoy some time outside, whether it was a brief walk or you maybe had some dinner. But 75 in Evansville today, 77 down towards Paducah, and you can honestly see where that cold front set up from moving here last night. It's set up kind of right over Tennessee. You can see the difference between Bowling Green, 79, and Nashville was at 88. So this kind of goes back to what Derek's question was asking about frontal boundaries and where they set up, and areas south of that front will be a lot more warm and moist, therefore a lot more unstable. And sure enough, they did see some thunderstorms farther off in the deep south today. But you can kind of see where that front is located just based off the color and the temperatures there. So that's a little nice little neat feature to point out to you guys on the weather show. But currently, we've cooled down a good bit since then by around 15 degrees. It's 60 out there here in Evansville, already into the upper 50s farther to our north, up towards Lawrenceville and Washington, and then farther to our south, still on the warmer side, 66 in Greenville down towards Muhlenberg County. Now, looking at the next 12 hours, we'll stay quiet through the overnight. Plenty of clear skies. Temperatures, again, hanging out in the upper 50s to around 60. And then for tomorrow, we'll warm back up into the low to mid 80s for our highs, with that rain and shower and thunderstorm activity moving in later on in the evening and into tomorrow night. But once we get through the cold front for Friday night into Saturday morning, check out what that does to our temperatures. Very similar to what we experienced today, we'll drop back down into the 70s for Saturday and Sunday. 74 Saturday, a little bit warmer there on Sunday with a bit more in the way of sunshine. Again, we'll have some clouds and showers in the morning, but I think generally it will be clear and dry through Saturday afternoon. So it'll only be a morning thing for the weekend. And then also looking at not just temperatures, those dew points, while they spike a little bit through tomorrow, you may notice a little bit of that humidity kicking back up ahead of that front. Behind it, it does drop all the way back down into that dry category, with dew points likely down into the 40s or even 50s. So temperatures cool down this weekend. We dry back out. It feels a lot more fall-like. However, it doesn't last forever. We start to warm back up to around average by the middle and end of next week, which is kind of what the Climate Prediction Center is highlighting here with their new temperature outlook through the 10th and into the 14th. So you can see these orangish yellow colors indicating slightly above average temperatures are a little bit more likely for us. So we can see that trend on our 7-day temperature map or temperature chart. Average high for this time of year around 85 degrees. We'll be likely hovering right around that for tomorrow, and then well below for the weekend. And then as we get towards Tuesday, we'll pop back up into the low 80s. And then by the middle and end of next week, we'll be back up above average into the upper 80s, topping out at around 88 by next Thursday. Now, not only are we going to start to warm back up after we get through this weekend, we are also going to remain on the drier side. High pressure builds in behind this front for tomorrow night, and it looks like it kind of sticks around with us through at least the first half of next week. Your rain chances go down to around 0 through next Wednesday, and Climate Prediction Center also picking up on that. You can see this very, very dark brown color indicating our probability of remaining below average for precipitation during the 10th through the 14th time frame is much higher. And that's unfortunate because our drought monitor, which updates every Thursday, showing that we are actually really picking up on some drought in the tri-state. So moderate drought has been observed along the Ohio River here. That includes the Evansville, Henderson, Owensboro, and Tell City, and includes much of our western Kentucky viewing area. Outside of that location, everywhere else is just abnormally dry where you see that yellow. However, where you see that beige, that is where moderate drought conditions are now taking place. So if we don't really get a good soaking rainfall consistently, we really won't bust out of this pattern. And unfortunately, these quick hitting thunderstorms for tomorrow night will give us at least some moisture, maybe a half an inch or less for most of us, but at most it probably just washes the dust off of our cars. It really doesn't do much to actually alleviate any drought symptoms. So here's a look at another fun little thing that happened actually earlier this morning. We observed a earthquake in southern Illinois, just to the northwest of Grayville. A magnitude of 2.1 was observed, and not many people felt it, but it was observed there, so we wanted to point that out with you. We talked a little bit more about that on 14 News at 4, 5, and 6 earlier this evening. And outside of earthquakes, we're also tracking out the tropics still. It is kind of the peak of hurricane season, at least for the Atlantic basin. However, today we're looking at the Pacific basin. This is actually Hurricane Kiko, and this is actually moving to the northwest, and this is actually heading towards Hawaii. It's a major Category 4 hurricane currently with sustained wind speeds of 130 miles per hour. It could even strengthen further and have sustained wind speeds of 145 miles per hour, but the good news is as it heads towards Hawaii, it is going to be weakening. However, it's still likely going to cause some pretty rough surf, a very windy day, and likely unpleasant vacationing conditions for the beginning of next week. So maybe if you know anyone who's thinking about vacationing in Hawaii next week, let them know about the tropics and tell them to keep a heads up. However, that's the Pacific. We can take a look at the Atlantic now. We don't have any storms currently brewing, but we do have the 7-day tropical outlook to look at. It looks like we do have a high percentage chance here that's developing through the central Atlantic, kind of in that main development region that we oftentimes see in the peak of hurricane season. You get these waves that come off the coast of Africa, and then they develop right through here, through the central Atlantic, and then head towards the Caribbean, and from there they can go into the Gulf, they can go up the coast, and obviously we know what happens after that. So hopefully that storm can stay away from any landfall. If it forms, hopefully it just remains out in the ocean. But here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Just kind of wrap everything up in a little bit of a bow for you. Through the rest of tonight and into the first day, or first half of tomorrow, excuse me, it's going to be nice and fine. It's going to be dry. We'll see sunshine with increasing clouds through tomorrow afternoon, and then maybe a stray shower or a thunderstorm in the late afternoon, early evening hours. But most of the showers and storms that we're expecting tomorrow will be moving in later on Friday night and into the overnight hours, a few of which may be strong to severe. We're not expecting widespread severe weather, but an isolated severe storm can't be completely ruled out. And then some of that will linger into early Saturday morning before drying out through Saturday, and then we'll stay dry through Sunday and even through much of next week. Plenty of sunshine with temperatures cooling down into the 70s this weekend and warming back up into the 80s by the middle of next week. So that is all I've got here for the forecast. Let me go ahead and check out the comments one more time. Let's see. Looks like Patty says hello. William says he got 0.94 inches by Bossy Field. That's a pretty high number. Usually you're giving us some pretty small digits, so I'm glad you got some rainfall down there. Hillary says hi, and William also recorded a 40-mile-per-hour wind gust last night. Looking forward to more rain in Tennyson, says Janie. And dry season is going to be a really dry season, says JT. And Teresa says she had 1 3/4 inch of rainfall in Whitesville, Kentucky last night from some of those storms. So yeah, definitely last night heard some loud thunder and some very heavy rainfall. We'll likely hear some more of that again as we go through tomorrow night. And again, there is that chance for a strong or severe storm, but not expecting anything widespread. So do I think you need to stay up overnight tomorrow night? No, but I do still think it's a good idea to maybe just have a way to receive a warning or a notification in the event you are placed under one. So that is all I've got for the 14 First Alert streaming show at 9. I'm going to go ahead and hop off the live stream. I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines, or whenever we air after NFL football. So hopefully you enjoy the rest of your night and stay safe.